So I'm a man now. Like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that.
By the end of 2010's God of War 3, the entire Greek pantheon had been decimated, the world torn asunder, all at the hands of Sony mainstay character and sometimes mascot Kratos, in an act, or really series of acts, of irredeemable rage.
Stay calm, boy! Say it.
Kratos was Sony's own Joker, just wanting to watch the world burn, and burn it he did. Kratos was not a nice guy, and frankly, by the end, was not particularly nice to play as. The Joker isn't the protagonist after all.
By the discipline, the self-control of the one who wields it.
By 2018, the world had changed, and there really was no place for the rage monster that Kratos had become. Which is why our number 8, Sony Santa Monica's God of War, following the popular reboot trend of renaming a product after its first iteration, gives us a Kratos almost unrecognizable to what came before.
True nature, your true nature fights within him.
Moving to a new pantheon, the Norse, 2018's God of War changes the entire perspective of the series, in more ways than one.
The same mistake. Have faith in him.
Anchored by his relationship with his son, new character Atreus, Kratos is no longer fueled by rage, but instead by an overriding sense of mourning for his newly dead wife, and almost confusion as he tries to grapple with the trials and triumphs of fatherhood, while fending off monsters, demigods, and the occasional world serpent.
You said I was cursed. You think I'm weak because I'm not like you.
Unfortunately, as good and as interesting as the characterization is, the actual plot of God of War largely revolves around finding MacGuffins, and red herring MacGuffins, and red herring pathways to get to red herring MacGuffins. While the makers of the game were clearly more interested in exploring the father-son Kratos-Atreus dynamic, the end result is a plotline that winds up feeling a bit like 30-plus hour prologue to the real story.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. When they find you, and they will, they'll make things difficult.
Undeniably beautiful, this new God of War occurs almost entirely in real time, pulling off the particularly interesting technical feat of making the entire game look like it's occurring in one single seamless virtual camera shot. Like the first two games on our list, if you enjoy seeing new and interesting places, God of War is a fantastic place to visit, though it does require players to circle the same slightly modified lake area, perhaps one or two too many times. Combat in this 2018 iteration is different than earlier games in the series, but primarily as a function of the change to a close quarters over-the-shoulder perspective rather than the fixed camera arena-style wide shots of the earlier entries.
If in combat, a warrior must not feel for his enemy.
It's undeniably a fun experience, but whether or not one finds the combat better is largely a matter of taste, as it does lack some of the dynamism and sheer over-the-top spectacle that were at the core of the series' DNA in the 2000s.
No place for a boy. You must be a warrior.
Musically, the score is incredible, going on the same journey as Kratos and Son, with deep percussive elements, chanting, and orchestration. As the adventure is not a particularly happy one, it tends to more of the dirge side of the musical spectrum, entirely fitting for portraying the story at hand, but not as joyous or adventuresome as the music in, say, Octopath Traveler. Like the Phoenix of his prior games, there's something remarkable about seeing a God of War 2018 with Kratos reimagined and reborn, rising from the ashes of his previous series, and setting the stage for an entirely new set of adventures.
Take on, boy!
I am!
What is it saying?
We can't wait to see what comes next.